Hey all, this is Anton.
And I'm the Flameclaw.
And welcome back to HFC's May Rio event. Oh yes, we're still continuing this gimmick, it hasn't gotten old yet. Now it's time for Super Mario Bros. 2 US. And I'm sure you guys all know about Doki Doki Panic and all that jazz, but I am obligated to paraphrase off a Wikipedia article for this, so just bear with me for a little while. Let's see, Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic was originally a Japanese exclusive platform game developed by Nintendo in cooperation with Fuji Television, who also published All Night Nippon, Super Mario Bros. For the Family Computer Disk System to promote its event called Yume Kojo 87, otherwise known as Dream Factory 87. And I'm going to space things out now, just so we're not basically translating the entirety of this Wikipedia article onto a fucking Let's Play. Now, Flame, how do you feel about Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, mate?
Well, this one, I think it's fair to say that this is the black sheep game from the original lineup. And it's like, although I know that Miyamoto has said that this was originally designed like with a mindset that it would be like a Super Mario game, so that's why it's sort of got similar gameplay. It's still very clear that it wasn't meant to be Super Mario Bros. 2. Some of the ideas here are very interesting. I will give it that. It is a very interesting game. And I quite like it, but it does very much stick out like a sore thumb amongst the other games on All-Stars.
Yeah, as you will see throughout this event of ours, it's, I would say the one that focuses most on verticality, and that's essentially what the Doki Doki Panic engine started as. A Super Mario-style tech demo which essentially used vertical scrolling mechanics as opposed to side-scrolling mechanics. And then Miyamoto was like, hey, that looks pretty good. Maybe make it a little bit more like Mario with side-scrolling stuff. And then, you know, we went through all the hubbub and whatnot, and eventually we got what we would like to call Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah, it went through a whole rigmarole of it's meant to be Mario, now it's not Mario, now it is Mario. And that's basically how we got here. That's what the Wikipedia article Tom was reading basically boils down to.
Hey, well, it's the Mario wiki, not so much Wikipedia, but get inside that eagle's mouth, there we go.
This game does have bonus features here where you can get more lives. I might have slight gambling addict tendencies, so that's why I'll be getting the extra coins to get more attempts at this, even though it's a pre-recorded no-hit run where I'm not going to leave in any deaths anyway. It feels good to see the life count go up, okay?
Interesting. Will we be checking out all 4 characters in this run, Flame?
Yes, we will. So, when the original game was designed, there were the 4 mascot characters from the festival that they were included in the game, and when that got adapted into Mario 2 here, they repurposed them to be Mario, Luigi, Toad, and the Princess. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of defined all like their skills from this point on, because although obviously like newer games it's not one-to-one, like Luigi doesn't quite flutter like this in more recent games. He has inherited the the jumping ability here, and like Peach in 3D World had the floating thing, so it's like it's stuck around.
Yeah.
And so, yes, over the course of this playthrough, I will be switching between the characters, sometimes as it's fitting for like their specific skills, whether it complements the levels. Sometimes it's just, I haven't been Toad in a while, let's be Toad.
So yeah, in the original, it was actually a family who was going through all this dream-related stuff. There was Imogen, who is the balance character. Mario replaces him. Mama is the one who can jump higher and lightly hover. Luigi in the final game can actually jump a little bit higher than her, which is interesting. Lena can briefly hover, but she has low speed and strength. Toadstool takes over for her, otherwise known as Peach. And then we have Papa, who is the strongest character in the game and can run the fastest, and Toad takes his place. Although going forward, Toad would be a zippy character, not so much a strong one.
Toad being the strength character feels like a compromise just so they didn't have to retweak stuff, but the speed definitely did. Like, I remember in 3D World, like, I keep going back to 3D World here, but when I was playing as Toad and I got to run faster than everyone else, that was fun.
Oh, indeed. We have a full co-op playthrough of Super Mario 3D World Plus on the channel. That was me, you, Tanner, and Snake, I want to say?
Yeah, we did like a full 4-player thing there. That in post-game levels, trying to do that with the online lag may well have taken years off my life, but it was a good LP, so it was worth it.
Surprisingly, it wasn't as laggy as you might think for, like, a Nintendo tile. It was just, when we got to, like, Champions Road, that was impossible. Like, I've seen people do it, but I assume those people were not, you know, free continents away from each other.
Yeah, and also, I think the problem in hindsight of why I kind of lost a lot of steam toward like in the post-game levels is that a lot of the design mentality around 3D World is very much like it's meant to be dumb, silly fun, and like when there's the little quirks like, you know, the screen freezes as you hit an enemy and like someone gets a power up and things like that, they're harmless in easy levels where it doesn't really matter if you tank a few lives or whatnot. When you're trying to do more difficult parts of the game, it goes from being silly fun into actually annoying because you get stalled and you make no progress. And that's kind of why it's like, I really like the main game of 3D World, the post game not so much.
So here we are in World 2, Desert World. This would go on to become a thing in Mario, you know. These mushrooms will give you an extra heart, as they are wont to do.
There's a lot of the general ideas that have stuck around in Mario, even though this wasn't originally a Mario game, and I think that's kind of worked out for the best, because like we've already talked about like the character-specific skills, but we've got things like the invincibility here, which admittedly works a bit differently to how it does in the main Mario games. You might notice that I was collecting cherries as I was running along. I think you have to get 5 of them to make the invincibility thing spawn in this game. And when you do, it just sort of floats in and you have to hope to God that you're in a convenient space to collect it there, because you can waste them, and that's really annoying.
Yeah, you work around its schedule, and be very careful when you're digging these things, because things can fall from above.
Yeah, the reason why I picked Toad for this level and for a lot of the digging levels is that Toad being the strength character means that he can dig faster than any of the others. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there was some thought put into my character picks here.
So how do we feel about Birdo, fresh from her debut, movie-wise, in the Super Mario Galaxy movie?
Do you really want to have this conversation, Tom?
Not really, no, so let's move on.
Yeah, let's. But Birdo is another character that obviously has stuck around, kind of ended up becoming like a complementary character to Yoshi, even though she did come first here. And Yoshi's the better design, so, you know.
But funnily enough, in Super Mario Advance, which is just a port of this, essentially, with some bells and whistles, you could find Yoshi eggs throughout the game. Now, I assumed that would unlock Yoshi. I'm pretty sure that's not the case. And besides, I got all of them except, like, 2, so I never did find out what you actually unlock.
No, you don't unlock Yoshi. I have done that. I did a playthrough of it a few years ago where I just did the Yoshi egg finding missions after doing the main game. It's a fun little extra mini game. It gives you an excuse to replay the levels, but you're also not really missing much if you skip it, to be fair. I will say for the advanced port, it's mostly based on this version, the All-Stars version, like visually speaking. But because the GBA has a different shape screen, there are some annoying moments where there's like screen transitions where it just locks the screen for a second in places where it's not really convenient, and it does feel a little bit jarring when it happens. So that's kind of why I prefer both this and the NES version. Okay.
Now I assume you're not going to be using any warps for this because we're showing off the whole game here.
Yes, we're doing the whole game, no warps. Same as I did for both Mario 1 and Lost Levels, same as I'll be doing for 3. Okay. So, yeah, we are being thorough here.
Well, what is HFC if not thorough?
Well, I mean, sometimes we do skip shit, it's just whether we feel like we can be arsed that day or not.
Who's in charge of the Let's Play? Is it me? Well, we're going to the credits, and after that I will see you later.
There's different scales, isn't there? There's like my ones where I tried to do most of the main game, optional stuff, I just sort of play it by ear if I think it's interesting. you tend to do a lot of live stuff these days where it's blind, and so you do like the main experience, and then you've got the Richie playthroughs where there's like 30 bonus parts.
Oh.
I very distinctly remember his old Bayonetta 2 run where like the extra videos were like the same length for the run again because he was so in depth about like every bonus piece of unlockable content out there.
God bless him. That's not going to happen with the Wonderful 101 remastered this time, thank Christ.
Oh, did you decide you don't want to sit through like half hour scrolling through a gallery this time?
Well, I just think he didn't record it this time, so...
Oh, that's fair enough.
Now, you will have noticed as we've gone through, there's a lot of familiar Mario characters, enemies even, but they were not originally intended to be so. Let me see. These include Shy Guys, Birdos, Pokies, Bob-Ombs, and Ninjas, the latter of which also made their cinematic debut in the Mario Galaxy movie.
I think the biggest like export from this game really are the Shy Guys. Like they're the most immediately recognisable Mario enemies that originated here, I'd say. Mm-hmm. I guess that's because in this game they are basically this game's equivalent of the Goombas in how they're placed.
Yeah.
It's not a bad arrangement of the invisibility theme, I gotta say.
Yeah, while we're on the subject of music, this game has its own feel to it. Let me see, who was the composer for this? It doesn't actually say here. I want to say Koji Kondo, but that might not be correct. Who composed Super Mario Bros. 2 USA?
Like, it doesn't feel out of place for Mario, but it does definitely have its own identity to it, which I do really appreciate that a lot.
Okay, it was Koji Kondo.
Yeah, see, that checks out. That explains why it feels natural for a Mario game.
Oh my god. That was a massacre flame.
Yeah, they just sort of got fucked there. You just ignore me, Shy Guy, that's fine.
Oh, Fanto. Watch out, you pick up the key, these masks will chase you.
This is a good showcase of what you were saying earlier about the level design being very vertical, in that when you get sections like this, there was nothing like this in Mario 1, there was nothing like this in Lost Levels. Like, at most, in terms of verticality, you would have, like, a vine that you climb up to a cloud area, and even they were, like, few and far between for the most part.
Noticing a lot of pyramid-shaped mounds here, which, you know, makes sense, but at the same time, it's a stereotyping a little bit, you know?
Well, I mean, like, it's just when they've got these limited resources and they're trying to go for a specific theme, like, they do have to sort of pick and choose which elements they can work with and which they can't. And that's something that I'll probably talk more about when we get to 3, because I think 3 does a lot better in terms of, like, variety of level tropes.
Yeah, I would say so, but then again, Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of the most iconic games of all time, more of which later.
Yeah, and also better than World. And now I need to quickly move on to a different subject before Tom can dispute that.
It's okay, I mysteriously went deaf for a few seconds there.
That's okay. Now we're playing as the princess, and the princess's main thing is that she can sort of hover for a little bit, but the trade-off for that is she's much slower and much weaker.
Women. Am I right?
Definitely first take there, picking up the right bit of grass out of the ground.
Now, if you were to actually put the potion next to a pot, occasionally that pot would become a warp pot. Have I used the term warp enough yet, or pot?
Oh, well, judging by the look of this game, there's probably a lot of pot going on here.
Interestingly, well, I don't know why I'm being hesitant about spoiling this, considering it's like 30 plus years old, but the big twist at the end was, it was all a dream, ooh, years before The Sixth Sense, when fucking Bruce Willis is a ghost, ooh.
This is like one of the big video game spoilers. It's like this, Sarah's dying, and that's about it, really, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah, but in the original Doki Doki Panic, they were actually inside a storybook.
One thing I did find out recently that I think is kind of interesting is that was actually the explanation for why World 7 in this game only has 2 acts rather than 3.
Okay.
And it's because that's where the storybook would end, like it would get torn away. And so there was actual context for it there, whereas in this version of the game it's just, oh yeah, this world just finishes early, why not?
Yeah.
But here we have a different coloured Birdo. The different Birdos have different powers, which they didn't really bring that back. Like, after a while, it kind of became the default colour for Birdo was just the pink one, and otherwise it would just be, like, alternate skins for her more than actual traits. But,
Yeah.
you know, they made it interesting here.
Great timing, right?
The sound of disappointment.
That's me when I want enter any given room.
This playthrough is now unavailable in Germany.
Look at all these extra lives that you're just not going to use.
If they give me a gambling minigame, I'm going to use it.
You're the reason they took it out of Pokemon.
I probably am. Like, I like gambling in video games like this. Oddly enough, though, I do not gamble that much in real life, so it's like, I'd take what I can get here.
Yeah, note the use of much in real life there, although I'm not really one to talk.
Look, okay, there's, like, acceptable things. Like, every now and then I'll put a bit of money when something, like, political's happening. I'm like, might bet on an election, but like I don't do any sort of regular stuff, because that's how people end up developing problems, and you have to be careful about that.
Thank you.
Yes, regular things like putting money into a video game on your phone where it sometimes gives you a shiny PNG.
Yeah, who would do that? Anyway, we're underground now. You'll notice bombs have been used a lot here. They can hurt you, so do not stand in the blast radius.
You might notice I sometimes get a little bit paranoid and just start running away really quickly, because goddamn, I do not want to get blown up here.
Another good life lesson from Flame. Don't gamble too much, only gamble on political events, and don't stand too close to, the bomb exploding.
Don't gamble your life by standing next to a bomb, it all ties together.
I don't think those purple birds ever came back, did they? Or if they did, I guess I never recognized them.
They might have come back like once or twice, but they haven't been like in main series things from what I know. Like, I don't recall them off the top of my head. All these like cherub things that keep flying in, I don't really recognise them from anything either.
Put them in the next Mario game.
I mean, I wouldn't mind having a bit more of a throwback to this game in, like, new stuff, because, like, they do occasionally, like, throwing back to Mario 1 a fair bit, like, in Odyssey, you had the 2D sections and that.
Yeah.
Don't get that much in Mario 2, like, there was a course in 7, Mario Kart 7, I mean, like, where you could race through an area like this, but that's about it, really.
They simply do not want to bring Wart, Mamu, as he was called in Doki Doki Panic, back. He showed up in the Galaxy movie, voiced by Luis Guzman, who you may know as, God, what is his name? Gomez Adams in the Netflix Wednesday show, which is a bit of an odd choice, but whatever, I thought he was good for the small amount of time he was in, but Nintendo seems to have otherwise just forgotten about him.
When are they going to bring Tatanga back? That's what I want to know.
That's what I'm saying. I would have thought he would have showed up in Galaxy, and I'm talking about the original game, not the movie here.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, the land games seem to have sort of been disowned a bit, and I sort of understand that they're in this weird branding spot where it kind of splintered into the Wario Land series after the third game, and that's kind of... like, that's the only link back to it in, like, the modern Mario series, but, like, I like Land, I'm allowed to have my bias here, okay?
And I greatly enjoy Land 2. We are different in this regard, but oh so similar as well. There's the bob-ombs.
The POW blocks as well, because we need a lot of violence here.
Purple ninjas.
This is a odd quirk of this game you saw, that I was able to just run through the Koopa shell there. I don't think you can do that in any other Mario game.
Now keep an eye out, there is, I believe, one red Sniffit in the... There it is!
Yep, there he is.
I love that guy.
Perfect timing. This is a bit of the level design mentality for 2 that I'm not that keen on. The fact that there's like a few more maze and puzzly elements compared to the first game. That, like, the first game just had the trial and error levels, which, like, you eventually learn which order's the right one, and then that's it. Whereas this one's got a lot more of, like, the multi-layered level design that you sort of have to figure out what you're doing rather than just go and do it well, sort of thing, you know?
That seems like a long-winded way of saying I like it when the thing that I enjoy does it, but not so much when the thing I doesn't enjoy does it.
Well, it's more that Mario 1, they're used more sparingly, whereas it's like a core theme of the level design mentality in this game. There's a lot of levels like it here.
Fair enough.
Which is, again, a long-winded way of saying I like one thing, I don't like other things.
Jesus Christ. Cut it a little bit closer, why don't you, Flame?
Well, look, if I'm gonna be trying to get these runs down as perfectly as I can, I might as well at least try and leave a little bit of excitement in, leave a little bit up to chance, you know? I love doing this.
What the hell is happening?
I just got stuck to it and decided to roll with it. It's not 4.
Welcome to the... Why'd you have to say that? Welcome to the Lego dimension.
That's not Lego. That's Nintendo N&B blocks, which are legally distinct Lego they brought out in the 60s. But yeah.
Mouser, also fresh from his cinematic debut in the Mario Galaxy movie.
Oh, cool.
Everyone was looking for a paycheck in that thing, that's all I'm saying.
I mean, can you blame them? It's free money.
I cannot, my good friend. We shall see you all next time for the second half of Super Mario Bros. 2 USA. No bonus.